Hey, it's me, I'm Laura, and I'm coming to you from September 10th, 2020, and I am south of Portland in some rural land. If you go a little bit more south of me, you get into wine country. It's pretty much wine country, but there's a there's a fire at Bald Peak. There's a fire at Chehalem Mountain. There may be updates and they're gone by now. I don't know. And there's fires just around us. I heard of one in Wilsonville. I am not near the evacuation zone, thank goodness. I'm pretty close to it. These fires are only miles away from me. But yeah, I have my bug out bags ready. I really need to update them. But I don't think I'm gonna have to evacuate because they're actually evacuating to schools and churches literally in my neighborhood. So I know that, yeah, it's gonna be okay. Anyway, Mars went retrograde yesterday, or stationed retrograde in the sign of Aries, which it hasn't done since 1941, per Jessica Lanyadoo. I highly recommend listening to her Hot Takes Mars in Retrograde episode, which is her most recently dropped episode. Jessica Lanyadoo. The name of the podcast is Ghost of a Podcast. I'm reading The Missing Element because my Applied One astrology class starts next week. Tomorrow I will get my first assignment. Well, my very first assignment was to memorize the signs, their rulers, a few keywords that describe them, the dates that are for the season or the sun sign, memorize all the planets. I mostly have all that down. One thing that is hard for me is to memorize the dates, January to February, whatever. That's the hardest thing for me right now. I'm going to work on that. I just want to make an aside too, especially if you're here because you are also wanting to study astrology. I have a podcast, and it is also called Starsucka. So you can find me on Instagram, Starsucka. I also have a Facebook group called Starsucka, and that used to be my Lactation Laura group, and so it is more family oriented and mother baby professional type of stuff. I'm no longer a nurse or a lactation consultant, so that's why on the page it just says retired lactation consultant. And yes, my midheaven is in Cancer, the breasts. So yeah, we're in September. I'm just looking at my honeycomb journal, which has all the transits. And yesterday at 3:22 p.m. Mars station retrograde in Aries at 28 degrees, which is where I also have Chiron. The moon is in Gemini. It was yesterday and it is today as well. Friday, tomorrow, it's going to be moving into Cancer at 1:22 a.m. Pacific time. Like I said, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. So I would like to find other people who are in my region. I really don't like to waste my energy translating time zones and stuff, so I do apologize for that. I think Kelly Surtees, she makes things so easy because she says, like, this is what it will be in the States, in the Pacific coast, and then this is what it will be in Australia. So it's very easy for me. I don't have to subtract a few hours or whatever. So yesterday was the 9th, and the moon was in Gemini, and it was trine Mercury in Libra at 5 degrees. Mercury's now in Libra, and that's cool. It was in Virgo, which it likes to be, but I don't think it minds being in Libra. Let's look at today. Today's Thursday, September 10th. The moon in Gemini is going to be trine the sun. Square to the sun, or it was square to the sun, who is still in Virgo. And that was at 2:25 a.m. But let's see, 8:41 a.m. I don't know what that means. My fourth house. It doesn't mean my fourth house. It's just it's a 4. It's a Roman numeral number 4. I'm getting it. It's very hard for me to translate. I would just rather do lunar calendars and Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Okay. Is the North Node in Gemini? Yeah. So today, great. So today at 3:23 p.m., this is a personal transit for me. Or is it for everyone? Yeah, it depends on where Chiron is right now. Because I know Chiron is in Aries. But, oh yeah, because I'm at 28. I'm at 28. So this is for everyone. And it is la da da, la da da da. Mercury in Libra opposing Chiron in Aries at 8 degrees. I'm not sure why it's dark black, because I would think it must mean that's for everyone. Because then in blue is me specifically. Yeah, because tomorrow on Saturday the moon in Cancer is conjunct my moon in Cancer at 17 degrees, which is my not my moon in Cancer, my midheaven in Cancer. Like I said, the midheaven represents your destiny or your your destinies, the way that why can't I remember people's name? Deborah Silverman. Excuse me. So this is the book I got of Deborah Silverman. It's called The Missing Element. We are all made up of 4 elements: fire, air, earth, and water. And oh, that's another thing I have to memorize, is what element the signs are in. We're all made up of those elements, and we're usually really good at one or two of them, and not so good at one or two of them. And the ones that we're really good at, for example, I'm really good at air. Air is thinking, talking, chatting, that kind of thing. And so what can happen is I can default to it and rely on it as like too much, and not develop my earth, which is what I am lacking. The only earth I have is Jupiter in Taurus at 25 degrees in my 8th house. I'm Libra rising. So everybody who's Libra rising has Taurus in their 8th house. What else is coming up today? So at 4:05 p.m. today Pacific time, the moon in Gemini is conjunct the North Node in Gemini, which I guess I didn't realize the North Node was in Gemini. Does the North Node go backwards? Let's see. Let's look at the chart. Astro.com. I just use astro.com. I paid $50 for the year so that I can save people. Oh my gosh, I'm not logged in. Excuse me? Oh, okay, I'll just put my own birth date in. Okay. Why is this? No. I go to extended chart selection, data entry page. So ridiculous. And you put in, a name that you want to associate with it. I'm a female. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. I identify as female, and I'm cisgender. Okay. Birthday is going to be... My birthday is on March 7th, 1977. I don't hide that fact. But I do keep other parts of my privacy hidden, so for identity protection. Okay. I'm going to put... I won't say what time. And my location of birth. And you put in your location of birth. And continue. I just want to see. I click down for house system. I choose whole sign. I wish I could share the thing with you. I don't know if anyone's actually interested in watching this. We'll see how many views I get. All right, here's my chart. But let me see with transits. Yeah, the North Node is in Gemini. That's true. Okay. But did the North Node go into Cancer and then go back to Gemini? Does the North Node go in retrograde? I don't think the North Node ever goes in retrograde. So I don't know where I got that. But yeah. Okay, so Mercury's in Libra. opposing Chiron. Yesterday, the Sun was opposing Neptune, who is in Pisces. And he was just conjunct my natal Sun in Pisces, so I've been catching those vibes. Yep, there's Mars. Where's she at? Where's he at? Excuse me, he's at 28. Yep, 28 degrees and 8 minutes. And where is my natal Chiron? Why does it say my Chiron's in Aries? I mean, it is my Chiron is in Aries, but why does it say? Oh, it says 28. It says 28 degrees. But what is 53 foot to 21 inches? This looks a little bit different. Anyway, I'm a student, like I have said before, so I wish that I had found the place where it asked me. I thought that I chose for 24-hour basically military or medical time in my chart because that makes the most sense to me because I worked as a nurse for a really long time. Let's see what else is coming up today, Thursday. Yeah, so tonight the moon in Gemini sextiles that Mars in Aries at 9:48 p.m. So there's like a good aspect to grab onto. I always like to grab onto the moon. The moon is really, I feel like it affects all of us because it's so close, and especially women, and it just depends on how in tune and touch you are, and you can set an intention to connect with the moon. Let's see, today's Thursday, moon. Last quarter. And then 13 is balsamic, and then the 17th is new moon. And our new moon is going to be in Virgo on Thursday the 17th. Oh, let us see what the astrology says for today. So part of how I find out what transits are coming up, besides that I could just look in my journal. I tend to just look in the journal that day. Or like if I'm having a hard time, see like what is going on. And right now usually it's Aries. But I use the technique of profections to, it's called annual profections, to see what is going to be really highlighted for me and what I'm really going to feel in my chart. So right now I'm in an 8th house profected year. So everyone who's 43 is going to be in an 8th house profected year. But that specifically for me means Taurus because I'm a Libra rising. So if you're also Libra rising and you're 43, you're in an 8th house perfected year in 2020 when you're 43. Now, if you're 43 and you're watching this 5 years from now, let's say it's 2025, and you're 43, you're also in an 8th house profected year. So when I'm looking at that, what I'm looking at is who is the ruler of my 8th house. And my 8th house is Taurus. If you're Libra rising, 8th house is also Taurus. And who rules Taurus? Libra rules Taurus. So where is Libra in my chart? Libra is in my chart in my 7th house. So, I'm sorry, not Libra, Venus. Venus is in my chart in my 7th house. So my 8th and my 7th houses are big themes for me this year. Now, the stuff that's happening in Capricorn, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn, and that type of stuff, that's in my home. So that's where I am going to feel it if I feel it. But I do feel it because Mars is in Aries, which is my 7th house. Mars is transiting my 7th house. My natal Mars is in my 5th house. But Mars is transiting my 7th house, which is Aries. And they always go in order. So if you're Libra rising, your 1st house is always Libra. Then 2nd house, Scorpio. Then 3rd house, Sag. Then 4th house, Capricorn. 5th house, Aquarius, Pisces. 7th house, Aries. 8th house, Taurus, 9th house, Gemini, 10th house, Cancer, 11th house, Leo, and 12th house, Virgo. Keeping in mind that I use whole sign or equal houses. That's just what I find the easiest. So Placidus, where it's like the house itself is split up or the sign is split between two different houses, it's just like, just no. Okay, not in August. So the way that I find out about coming up transits is on Kelly Surtees. So it's kellyastrology.com, and it's her her guide to astrology, I want to say. I can put her link in the, I want to say show notes, but okay. September. Going over to September 9th. Oh. So yeah, yesterday was September 9th. Mars stationed retrograde. Mars goes retrograde every 2 years, so we don't have to freak out about the fact that Mars is retrograde. But Mars has not retrograded in the sign of Aries since 1941. Mars was conjunct my natal Chiron. Yes, it's true. 28. There's going to be losses, tension, family, conflict, partners, relationships, all those things. Tension. What did I have? Fires all over. Wildfires. And also I went to gas up my car in case we needed to go somewhere. And I also had to go to the hardware store because we needed weather stripping around. I didn't want like dust because the windstorm was just cray. Or smoke like coming into our house. So I wanted to make sure we had those supplies. So I went to a hardware store and got that, and I went and got gas. And at the gas station, this big old truck came pulling in and squeezed into a really tight space at the gas station. And the guy got out. He was sitting, the guy he pulled in next to was sitting in his car, and he got out and was like fighting with him. Basically what I heard is that he heard that guy's car ding his car when he opened the car door. Anyway, that's Mars in station retrograde. Okay, so if you're in my program today from 3 to 4, we can test our tech. So I'm sure you got an email and you can check that. My program is Applied Astrology Level 1. Tomorrow on the 11th, astrology homework assignment will be given out. I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. I don't know why. I mean, I don't get nervous because I don't know stuff. That's not the worry. Never has been. The concern is my interaction with other people. First impressions, that type of thing. I am what I am and I want to be what I am. But I also don't want to hurt people or unintentionally, start. I just don't want to hurt people by triggering them. But here's the thing. Some people feel hurt just for you existing. Just for the fact that right now I don't have kids to chase, people hate me. They're like, bitch. To that I would say, bitch, try to take care of my 2 dogs. They're like children. But I know it's still, at least I can leave them at home, for sure. But so that can be like triggering to people. So on Saturday, yes, Saturday the 12th, Jupiter stations direct in Capricorn. Hell yeah! So according to Kelly Astrology, Kelly's saying this is a little bit of a relief. We are wanting to get Jupiter out of Capricorn. Now, Jupiter's going to have to pass over Pluto and Saturn. Pluto's going to be in Capricorn for a while. And the U.S., by the way, is having their Pluto returns. Solar returns is your birthday. That's where the sun returns back to your natal sun placement. So that's solar returns. Moon returns would happen every month. When the moon goes through Libra, that's when I have my moon returns. I'm at 19 degrees of Libra. Sorry, I was just getting an idea for something for later. So for this Mars retrograde, which is going to be several weeks, okay, and remember Mars is square Saturn, so I didn't finish saying it. So even though my 4th house, I'm not in a 4th house profected year, but on the 7th, in my 7th house is where Mars is transiting, and my 7th house is active. So when you're looking at those houses, you're looking at any of the planets that are in those houses any of their transits or any planets that transit that house. Those are the transits that you pay close attention to. Besides moon. I mean, moon is just, we are the moon. We are the moon. We are the children. I'm not a good singer. Never said I was. My husband has a bottle of creative juice that he designed. Fresh something. Oh, it's got a seal. Glug, 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 glug. What does this say? Wet your whistle and nourish your neurons with the agency he used to work for is Creative Juices this holiday season. Be merry, be happy. He gave these to his people. Aww. The question is, what did it have in it? Was it just an empty bottle? Anyway, Mars will be retrograde for a little over 2 months. I'm going to see. So Mars in retrograde is more about building something slowly, brick by brick, per Kelly, as opposed to just barging in there and getting stuff done. October the 13th, Mercury goes retrograde in Scorpio, my second house. Mercury retrograde October 13th. October 17th, astrology group. Astrology has been so freaking helpful to me. It's so grounding. I did want to talk about breath. I'm listening to some podcasts by an author. I forget his first name. His last name is Nestor. My friend had posted a book that she read by him about nose breathing and sleep taping, where you put a very small, very weak piece of tape, like the size of a postage stamp, like on your lips, and keep your jaw closed at night. If you sleep like this, that's not the way it's supposed to be. In this podcast I was listening to, the author kept doing it like, it kind of sounds like a patient being suctioned, but the podcast host was triggered. She was like, don't. I had a baby. She had a baby that had a problem with that. They had to expand the child's mouth. But every podcast that I'm listening to of this guy, and I can make a separate, I have no idea if people care, but I can make a separate video. Every podcast I've listened to, he's told a story in a way where he's kept me interested, where he's gotten increasingly concise, which I appreciate. But also every host is talking about braces, getting their jaws expanded, surgery, tongue tie. It's like everyone has an experience about breath. For me, I use a bite guard at night, and it keeps I keep my teeth touching it. And I tend to grind. So I have like the opposite problem, and I sucked my thumb as a child. So I kept that nose breathing going, and now I see why thumb sucking calmed me down. Which, by the way, one of my nicknames back in the day, and that's the name of my website, is Thumbsucka. So it's thumbsucka.wordpress.com. I don't know if I'm going to post anything, but thanks for watching, I guess.